Hey guys, this is Mike from the James16Group here with another trade that I've just placed on the USD NOK, which is the Norwegian dollar here. And I'm looking to short this pair based on a pattern that I found utilizing Autochartist MetaTrader plugin here. So again, we have a triangle pattern forming here, and it's in a sideways market. So what I'm going to do is break down for you guys how I'm trading this pattern, and it's actually quite similar to the last trade, just sort of flipped the opposite way. So if you guys watched the previous video, in this situation, in the previous video, we used a bullish outside bar to trigger our entry. In this situation, we're using a bearish outside bar to trigger this entry. So a bearish outside bar is just a bar that has a higher high than the previous bar, a lower low than the previous bar, and closes near the bottom. Now, where we closed and how this bar formed is critical for why this is a valid trade for me. So basically what we're looking at is a few things here. So here's our triangle pattern spotted by Autochartist, right? So price is sideways, it's consolidating down, right? Here's the range of resistance, here's the range of support. And if we look at the range of resistance here, look at all this resistance up here, right? We have resistance, resistance, resistance. Then look what price does. It starts to drive towards the top of that triangle, right? It looks like it's getting bullish here, and then boom, collapses down and closes below this rising channel, rising trend line of the wedge formation or triangle formation to the downside. Now, another interesting point here is this. Look at this swing high point, right? So if we extend this swing high point, you can see price is getting underneath this area. Now, generally speaking, if we take a step back, we always kind of want to do that and understand the type of market we're in. This is a breakout type trade, yes, but it's a breakout trade in a very sideways market, right? So here's the top range that we spoke about, strong resistance, and here's the bottom of that range, strong support. So why trade a breakout like this in such a tight range? Well, there's one dominating factor here that goes into it for me and why I pulled the trigger on this one, and that's this here. So we still have this open gap from Sunday. Now, basically when we're talking about gaps, you know, it's the markets are closed on the weekend, so to speak, even though the Forex markets are technically open 24/7. They're only speculated on, you know, basically from Sunday evening New York time to Friday 5 p.m. New York time. But when the markets open from where they closed on Friday, sometimes we have this gap up. Well, the markets love to close these gaps. They don't happen right away. Sometimes they do happen right away. But if we have a price action setup that validates driving price this way, it can be a really good way to have a bias into the marketplace. So based on the price action setup here with the bearish outside bar, based on the pattern from Autochartist, based on price trying to drive higher and being rejected down multiple times, to me the bias now is to the downside. Here's our pattern. Let's trade the breakout short. So again, what I'm going to look for here is I'm going to look for this general area to hold us down. Again, you can see my order triggered in, and we're sort of just pulling back a little bit. You know, nothing to worry about. I'm going to start with my stop above the bearish outside bar, and really I'm going to look to move my stop down as we move lower into what we call the first trouble area, which would be this previous swing low, this minor swing low that is the base point of our triangle pattern here. And again, those base points of your pattern, and I'll just show you a general view. So if here's your triangle pattern, anywhere price sort of touches on these areas, so if your breakout is long, these touches to your trend line become your trouble areas, with the base point being the largest trouble area that price will have to get through. So when price gets to here, that's a major trouble area, right? That's a good point to start to reduce your risk, take profit, maybe take some off the table. Or again, in this situation, because I believe price will want to drive lower to the bottom portion of this box, right, to the major support, to this open gap, I'm willing to not just close out here, but that's a good point where in my head I'll say, okay, let's start to reduce our risk. We hit that major trouble area. We want to make sure we're not taking full losses here, cut our losses, let our winners run. So we can see price trying to drive lower now. Let's see if this holds. Again, this is really sort of what you want to see. You really want to see this rising trend line here hold price down. So if we sort of just look at where price is stalling, price closed under it, look where it pulled back. Now it's going to try to drive lower. Let's move our stop down above this high, cut most of our risk out, and see if we can move down into the support area. So I put my take profit just above the gap. Again, that's because there's a lot of support here, and a lot of times you might see a bounce before price then closes the gap. And again, we are in a very sideways market here. So what I'll do is I'll update this video each time I do something with my risk or my take profit, and we'll see what happens. All right, just a quick update here, guys. So we can see price making it down real close to this low, pretty much right off it. And look what it's doing. It's bouncing, but it's a pretty slight bounce. It's not really worrying me. Again, this is your first trouble area here, but we have a bigger story in play here of why I'm not just going to close this out. So instead what I've done is I moved my stop down. I've cut a little bit over half my risk. Again, I want to give it a little bit room to work. It could pull back again. We do have the ask price to worry about, meaning, again, you want to be aware of your spread dynamics, your bid-ask dynamics. If we sell at the bid, that means we have to buy back at the ask. So that floating ask price is what will take us out first. So again, we don't want to get bumped out here as price pulls back. See bouncing off here. But let's see if this still holds. I'm not overly concerned. Again, I think the driver is to the gap. We're in this box. We're going to work our way down towards that support area. All right, guys, so we had just a great move here. Price just shot right down underneath this little minor swing point of the base of our triangle pattern here. So again, let's see if we can work towards here. You know, I might even look to take profit at these bar highs. Again, the driver is this gap. We've reduced our risk. So let's just see if we can get a continuation here now. You know, this is exactly what you want to happen. Hopefully we don't have too many pullbacks here. That's sort of what caught us out for break even last time on the peso. But that is trading. You got to sort of go with the flow. Again, make sure you're taking care of your risk, and then the good trades will come. So let's see again if we can get another push. And again, I may take profit into here, see how price reacts. We do have the 8.5 big round number in here, so let me put that up so you guys can see that. So, you know, again, this is a pretty important support area. I do think price will want to dip under it, test that gap, but, you know, it might be a good place to close this out for a nice gain here. All right, guys, so I'm going to actually go ahead and close this one out now. We had a really strong push into this big round number. You know, it's getting a little bit later into the day here. So, you know, again, we could start to see price bounce. Like I was saying, price often likes to bounce before these gaps too. So we have this support, this last sort of bullish move here in this big round number. So we could see some bouncing around. I don't want to give up all this profit. It was just a really nice move here. Nice, quick, and pretty painless, which is always nice here. So again, this was a triangle formation spotted by Autochartist. I'm just combining it with support and resistance like we teach in the group. And again, together they're very powerful. So look for more videos. I'm going to do some tip videos on general support and resistance, price action, concepts, and also some tip videos on how to better utilize the Autochartist software too.